Hey guys, FunnyGuyTimmy here again for some more game reviews. Again, every time I finish a series, an actual multi-episode series game, then I will do a review on it. Because most of the time when I do a shorter game, I normally give kind of a quick review at the end. But the bigger games kind of need a bigger video for a review. So that's what we're doing today. Again, my series videos will be posted on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and then random videos for random games that aren't series will be posted throughout. And normally the reviews will be posted on the Monday or Tuesday after the last episode of the series videos. So let's get into it. Today we're reviewing Bendy and the Ink Machine. Now, Bendy and the Ink Machine is a game that I played one of the early versions to. I don't think it was the beta. It might have been the beta. But I played the early version to, and I only got up to chapter 3, and then they released the full version. So I'm just reviewing the full version, the most latest recent version, not any of the beta or alpha stuff, none of that. So reviewing the full thing. And again, I'm going to be splitting up the positives and the negatives. So here we go. So the first positive that I would like to address is the originality of this game. Now, I don't mean spooky atmosphere, creepy jump scares, stuff like that. I mean the fact that it's basically cartoons brought to life. Now, there's been other games where it's been like movies or games or books or fantasies brought to life, but this one is specifically cartoons. And it plays off the old black and white Disney era where there really was a lot of pioneering and a lot of struggling and a lot of dirty trickery done during that time period for people's cartoons to get put in front of people and to be the biggest and most successful thing. A lot of Disney stuff was like that. There was a lot of competition between Disney and other cartoon production companies. There was a lot of backstabbing and stuff like that. So this really fit in that area, really fit in that category. And it's done really, really well. The cartoons, the music, the posters, the characters' design really fits that time period and that kind of feel. Now, I really wish that they would kind of played more the cartoon in the real environment rather than this kind of weird, not sure if it's a cartoon, not sure if it's real kind of feel, but I'm going to get to that more in the negatives. Ultimately, I do like the originality. The story is original from what I've seen. I don't know of any other that has really hit this kind of topic, really hit this kind of theme. So I'm really going to give it points for originality. Most other horror games, you're not sure if it's a dream or the character's imagining things, if the place is haunted, if it's demonic, if there's a ghost, you don't know. But this is a very different direction than most other games. My second positive is the backstory. Yes, it is different from the theme and the originality. The backstory, the stuff that you're given through the tapes, through the documents that you find, through the characters' dialogue, and through the various pieces of information that you gather as you journey deeper and deeper into the bowels of this inky hell, it's all done really, really well. It's all done one piece at a time. You're really getting the information that you need one at a time. It's not an overload of information. It's not a whole bunch of reading. It's mostly audio. And there is a lot of backstory. You do get to figure it out slowly but surely. I mean, there's not too much mystery there. For the most part, you already know what's going on. You already know that Bendy is a cartoon character that's come to life and wants to kill everybody, but you're not sure how they got there and what happened to everybody. And you are given those pieces of information slowly but surely through the tape recorders or through documents. And so the way that they give you small pieces of information and small clues is actually really, really good. I kind of wish that there was a little bit more to it, or you found out more information as far as like how the ink machine was made or what the ink machine is, or are those animatronics inside them? Did they take real people and turn them into ink? But there's a lot of questions that you're still left with, which is fine, which is good, because I do think that they intended on doing a sequel, like most games basically are set up to be now. Everybody wants a franchise, which is not a bad thing. If it's done well, by all means, keep going. But I do like the fact that they do give you the information, and it's not just you going and reading books the whole time. The way that the information is given to you is done really well. The third positive is the environments and the design and the character design and the character models. Everything has this really well done, creative, cartoony, yet off kind of look. There's always something askew. There's always something wrong with something. There's always something that makes it's a little uneasy, but it's fun to look at. It's not a mess, but there's always just something that's just off. Like it's not perfect squares. It's always odd angles and misshapen boxes, and that's nice to see. It's nice to see that kind of structure, because that's a little bit more complicated for a game designer to make, or some concept artist to draw and then the game designer to make. And when that kind of stuff is done well, it's really nice to see, especially if it's like a Dr. Seuss looking kind of environment. Dr. Seuss drawings were always ornate, and it's the kind of thing that you'd never actually see in real life. It's the kind of structures that couldn't possibly exist. But to see something like that in a game in a 3D space, and to see how it might work, is always very interesting. And that's how I would kind of describe some of the technology and some of the weapons and some of the characters in this. It's very Dr. Seuss-like. Of course, Dr. Seuss meets Edward Scissorfingers or whatever. But it's very, very neat to see. Again, there's really only 2 colors that's in the entire game, and that's brown and yellow. But it is really, really neat to see that kind of off, ornate, askew shapes and angles. Because if everything was just straight angles and boxes and perfect polygons, it would have been very boring. So it's very interesting to look at and explore this very weirdly shaped world. And my last positive for this would be the fact that there is replayability. There is a replay factor. So later on, you get this kind of looking glass kind of thing, or this kind of, not really a magnifying glass because it doesn't really magnify anything, but it's like a little window that you can hold up, and you can see things that you wouldn't normally be able to see through the character's naked eye. And the fact that you can actually go through the entire game and play through with that and get some more information, that is cool. That is actually a neat element. That's actually a neat feature. I don't know if it's 100% worth playing the entire game over again just to read some more information, but it is neat that that is there, that there is something. If you are the kind of person who likes 100% completion, or you want the whole story and you just had questions, you can go back through and you can get more answers. Is it going to answer all the questions? Probably not. Probably not, because they are setting it up for a sequel, and if you give the player all the information now, they're not going to be as interested. So they're probably going to hold off on a lot of very crucial stuff. But ultimately, that is neat. And now on to the negatives. So the first negative would be the fact that the majority of the game is backtracking. Almost all of the missions, almost all the chapters is you go to one spot and you get sent all the way back across the entire chapter to collect things or to push buttons or to flip switches, only to go back to where you started. And that's almost every single chapter. Almost every single chapter is like that. And that's really, really annoying, due to the fact that it's okay for some of it. I think in chapter 3 or 4, when you're working with Alice Angel, the evil Alice Angel, there is a lot of that I understand, that I get. I mean, that chapter, that area is huge. So it didn't feel that bad to have to go back to the entire game all over again, or that entire map or section all over again just to collect these different things. It did add it. It just was kind of annoying that was throughout the entire game. First chapter was like that. Second chapter was basically like that. Third chapter was like that. All the chapters, you basically just went from one place to another, always to return to the same spot just to get sent to collect more things. And that it's kind of lazy. It's kind of lazy, and it's kind of level padding, which there probably was a better way of doing that. Maybe you could have had some levels where that wasn't the case, or some chapters where that really wasn't the case, but most of them, each chapter had some element like that. And it did kind of take away from the experience for me. It did frustrate me a little bit, especially when nothing happened. That's the worst part, is when nothing happens, you're just rummaging through shit in places that you've already been to return, and then nobody attacked you. That's kind of annoying. Second negative would kind of be, and I don't mean this in any disrespect, would kind of be some of the voiceover. Some of the voiceover is really, there's no emotion behind them. There's no drama. I don't really feel the character's dialogue, especially the main character. Every single one of his reads, all of his dialogue was bland and emotionless and not feeling. It's one thing to have a protagonist who's a silent protagonist so that the player can actually apply their emotions to, that they can pretend like, oh, this is me in this scenario. But if you give the character a voice, give the character a character. Give them an actual personality. Give them something that the player can actually read off of. I don't know anything about the main character other than the fact that he was a cartoonist. I don't know his likes, his dislikes. I don't know what scares him. I don't know if he's single, married. None of that. All of his dialogue was really, really bland. And some of the other characters as well was very similar. A lot of the ones that you find on the tapes are also very bland and monotone, which is weird when a whole bunch of weird and awkward and evil and creepy shit is happening. When they talk about, oh, he's summoning the ancient gods or the old gods or whatever, you're like, you should really be freaked out by that line. And they just play it off like, it's the gods. He wants to appease the gods. Whatever. I'm out of here. Or whatever. And that was kind of annoying. There wasn't any of those tapes that actually felt like the emotion was there. And I don't mean any disrespect to any of the voice actors. I think they all did fine. But I would have liked something a little bit more to actually really get from the read. I feel like it would have been the same if you had just read it yourself. If you had just read the lines yourself, you basically would have gotten the same level of emotion as them reading it. I would have wanted some more emotion, some higher levels of acting. I think the best voice actor was probably Alice Angel, because she goes through a range of emotions and she's crazy. So she was probably the best, but the majority of it was really boring. And the last negative is the fact that I feel like the character you play is just kind of there, and stuff just happens around him. He's not too much of an active part of the story, and he's not too much of an active part of the stuff that's going on. Most of the time, he's just witnessing stuff or being taken from one place to a next. Again, a lot of that has to do with the fact that you're just doing backtracking missions. Spoiler alert, by the way. This is going to be a spoiler for the ending. So if you don't want any spoilers, go ahead and pause or turn off now, or skip ahead or whatever. But another one of the reasons that I say that this character is just having stuff happen around him is the last level, the fight with Bendy. When you actually fight Beast, Evil, Demon Bendy. Bendy just runs through walls in straight lines and doesn't actually attack you for the first half of that. it's only if you get in his way. Like, you can just stand there and he just keeps going through pillars and walls, and you're like, does he even see you? And all you got to do is flip switches to open up a door that you go through. It's not like you're hurting him. You're not attacking him. You basically don't do anything to him. You can't do anything to him, which is weird because throughout the rest of the game, if Bendy walks through a wall and comes anywhere near you, he chases you and then he kills you, as opposed to Beast Bendy, who doesn't even seem to see you or react to you at all. Then you get to the second half fighting him, and then you're just kind of trying to get him to run into stuff and then go and play a film. So I really wish this character felt more like he was an active part of the story. He's just kind of a bystander. And if you add that with the kind of dry delivery and the dialogue, you're like, is this even a character? But ultimately, I really, really like this game. So I would give it probably a 3.5 to 4 out of 5 stars if I was to give it that rating. I'm not sure where they're planning on taking it for the sequel. I did very much enjoy the game. It's a little short. It's a little bit of a shorter game. Each chapter isn't really all that long. I think each chapter is maybe like 20 to 30 minutes. So you're getting like maybe a couple hours out of it, but ultimately it's not that long. Plus, with the backtracking and knowing that a lot of it's just level padding, basically prevents it from getting a higher score. So I'd probably say 3.5. But I'm dying to see if they do a sequel, what's in the sequel, and I will be playing that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you're new, subscribe, and if you'd like to see any other reviews or any other games played, leave that down in the comment section below. If you disagree with any of my points, leave those down in the comment section below. I will respond. Nothing hurts my feelings. And until next time, peace!